Curling exercises are the best way to build up your biceps, which is often a sought after group for hypertrophy. There are so many different variations, all with different pros and cons. So which one should you go for? Well, that's what we're going to cover in this video. G'day everyone, and welcome back to Powersthetics Fitness, helping you build your body to both look and perform at its best. In today's video, we're going to look over all the major curl variations, determining which ones are good and which ones are suited for your personal goals. So let's jump right into it. The curls we're going to cover in this video are the standing curl, the incline curl, the drag curl, the rear cable curl, the spider curl, the preacher curl, the reverse curl, and the hammer curl. Take a shot every time I say curl in this video. Starting off with the standing curl. This can be done with either dumbbells or a barbell or easy bar. These are a great way to build up your overall biceps, as it will hit both your short and your long head, and it's a great way to build up strength in that area. If you could only do one bicep exercise, I would lean towards this one since it hits the bicep in its entirety. The only real negative is that it doesn't emphasize one of the heads if one of them is lagging or if there's something that you want to prioritize, such as bicep thickness or bicep peak. Next up, we're going to be looking at variations which hit the long head. Starting off with the incline curl. This is probably my favorite way to hit the long head, as it's a good stretch and is a great way to load up heavy but also feel a good mind muscle connection with the biceps. Coming up next is the drag curl. This is one which will also incorporate a little bit of your traps and your rear delts. This is probably not one of my favorites since you don't feel as much of a mind muscle connection as you do with the incline curl, but is still a solid option as you do hit a little bit of the rear delts, which is also a lagging body part for most people. Coming up next is the rear cable curl. This has similar properties to the incline curl as you get a good stretch. However, I don't find the resistance path to be as good as the incline curl. Still a great exercise overall though. Next up, we're going to look at a few short head curl variations. Starting off with the preacher curl. This is a great way to hit the short head as it stretches it out front and is a good way to load up heavy as well as feel a good mind muscle connection with the short head. The only problem is that there may be slight injury potential if you load up too heavy. Just make sure you go for higher reps in this case. Next up is the spider curl. This is one of the more obscure variations of the exercise, but also one of my favorites. That being said, this exercise is a little bit harder to progressively overload and therefore may not be as good for both strength and hypertrophy benefits. Next up, we're going to be looking at curl variations which hit the brachialis and the brachioradialis. Starting off with the reverse curl. This is a great variation as can be done with both a barbell and a dumbbell similar to the standing curl. The hammer curl has very similar properties, however cannot be done with a barbell and therefore might be slightly limited and often will need heavier dumbbells, as well as the fact that you won't get as good of a range of motion since the weight will stop you from getting a larger range of motion. Almost all these variations have their place, however I had to rank them. In last place, I'm gonna have to go with the drag curl. Simply because I do not think the mind muscle connection is as good for the biceps, as sometimes the rear delts will take over and is not as wide of a range of motion. Similar reasoning, in 7th place I'm going to go with the hammer curl. This is simply because I do not think the range of motion is as good as a reverse curl and therefore it falls a bit further on the list. In 6th place, I'm going to have to go with a spider curl. Unique and fun variation, especially if you want to hit your short head in a new way. However, I do think it is a little bit harder to progressively overload, and that's why it drops down the list a little bit. Coming in at 5th place is going to be the rear cable curl. I know a lot of people who have benefited highly from this, and I do think it's a great exercise, especially if you maybe have shoulder problems compared to the incline curl. However, I do think it's a little bit further compared to the incline curl. Next up, I'm going to go with the reverse curl. I think this is the best curl variation for building up your brachialis and brachioradialis, as this will add thickness to your arms and push up your biceps peak. In 3rd place is going to be my favorite variation for the short head, that being the preacher curl. Great way to overload and overall just a fun exercise. In 2nd place is going to be the incline curl. Personally, this is my usual go-to bicep exercise since I usually will be prioritizing the peak of the bicep. However, if you only have one exercise that you can do, I'm going to have to go with the standing curl, which is our #1 pick because it hits the biceps in its entirety. Great way to overload. You can do it with dumbbells, you can do it with barbells, easy bar. Overall, just amazing exercise, and that's where it's at #1. That being said, these are all great exercise and I highly recommend you try them out and figure out which one suits your training goals and which one you just simply enjoy the most. And there we have it. If you found this video helpful, be sure to drop a like. If you've got any questions regarding anything you saw in this video, be sure to comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you want your own program where I break everything down for you, be sure to check them out in the website, link in the description down below.